The diner smelled of burnt toast and fresh coffee, the kind of place where time seemed to slow down, and stories were quietly written in every chipped mug and faded booth. But that morning, the air was tense, like the calm before a storm no one saw coming. Outside, the sun blazed over a small-town diner, its neon sign flickering weakly against the blue sky. Inside, laughter rang out from one table, loud and mocking, cutting through the easy hum of conversation. 3 young men, dressed in expensive streetwear, occupied the corner booth. Their phones were out, their smiles cruel. At another end of the diner, an elderly waitress carried a steaming pot of coffee, her white apron stained from hours of honest work. She moved slowly, her hands trembling slightly, a reflection of decades spent serving others. Before we go deeper into this story, if you believe that kindness and second chances still matter in this world, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to remember that goodness always wins in the end. Her name was Margaret, though everyone called her Maggie. She'd been working at Millie's diner for nearly 30 years. Her back ached, her knees cracked, but she never stopped smiling. She loved her job because she loved people, the travelers, the families, the truck drivers who shared their stories while she poured their coffee. But not everyone saw her kindness. That morning, Maggie had been running late. Her old car wouldn't start, and she'd had to walk 3 miles to the diner. When she arrived, the manager was already frowning, and the breakfast rush had begun. The coffee pot slipped from her tired hands once, staining her apron. She sighed but carried on, her spirit unbroken. Then came the 3 boys, Ethan, Liam, and Ryan, college students from the city, home for the summer, wearing wealth and arrogance like armor. Ethan, the loudest of the 3, wore a red Supreme shirt and a smirk that said he'd never known what it was to want for anything. They ordered pancakes, bacon, and coffee. Maggie served them with her usual politeness, even as they snickered at her trembling hands. When she accidentally spilled a little coffee on the table, their laughter got louder. Ethan leaned back, recording her with his phone, whispering, "Watch this." He made a cruel joke about her age, her shaky hands, about how she belonged in a museum. Then, when she apologized softly, trying to keep her composure, Ethan did something that silenced the entire diner. He spat on her apron. For a moment the world stopped. Maggie froze, her face pale. The laughter from the boys echoed, cruel and hollow, while the other diners stared in shock. Her lips trembled, her eyes filling with tears. She tried to blink away. She simply nodded, turned around, and walked toward the counter, clutching the empty coffee pot. The boys went back to their phones, laughing as Ethan uploaded the video online. But what they didn't notice, what none of them realized, was that in the far corner of the diner, 4 men in leather vests had been watching the entire scene unfold. Their jackets bore a single emblem, Steel Serpent's Motorcycle Club. They were regulars, bikers, with rough exteriors but loyal hearts, the kind who tipped generously and always respected Maggie like a grandmother. The leader, a tall, bald man with a thick beard and tattooed arms, had been sipping his coffee quietly when Ethan spat on her. Now his cup sat forgotten on the table. His eyes hardened. Maggie disappeared into the back room, but the bikers rose to their feet. The room went silent except for the squeak of their boots against the tiled floor. Ethan was still laughing, turning the phone camera toward himself, narrating the funny moment. Then a shadow fell over him. He looked up, his grin fading when he saw the towering figure of the biker leader staring down at him. The man's name was Tank, though few dared to call him that to his face. He didn't shout, didn't threaten. He just looked at Ethan with a stare so cold and steady that it froze the boy's laughter in his throat. The other 2 boys shrank back as Tank spoke, his voice calm but heavy like thunder rolling in from a distance. "You think that's funny, kid? Spitting on a woman who's old enough to be your grandmother?" Ethan tried to stammer out an excuse, but Tank's hand moved faster than his words. He grabbed the boy's phone, stopped the recording, and tossed it onto the table. "You clean up your mess." Ethan blinked. What What do you mean? Tank leaned in closer. You apologize to her, and you make it right. The entire diner watched. Even the cook had stepped out from behind the counter, wiping his hands nervously. Ethan hesitated, but something in Tank's gaze told him this wasn't a request. His friends whispered that maybe they should leave, but Tank blocked their path with one arm. You walk out that door, he said quietly, and you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Ethan swallowed hard and nodded. The room seemed smaller, the air thicker. He walked toward the kitchen door, his heart pounding. Inside, Maggie was sitting on a stool, her hands shaking, eyes red from crying. She looked up as he entered, her expression tired, wary. For a long moment neither spoke. Then, with a trembling voice, Ethan said, I'm sorry. At first she didn't respond. Then, slowly, she nodded. People make mistakes, she said softly, but you don't have to be one. Those words hit Ethan harder than any punch could have. Tank watched from the doorway, arms crossed, making sure the boy's apology wasn't hollow. But what no one expected was what happened next. Ethan asked if he could help clean up the mess. Maggie hesitated but handed him a rag. Together, they wiped the floor, cleaned the table, and even fixed the spilled coffee stain on the counter. The diner watched in silence. Something was changing, something quiet but powerful. When Ethan returned to his table, his friends looked at him like he'd lost his mind. But he didn't care. He sat down, staring at the untouched pancakes, his appetite gone. For the rest of the meal, he barely spoke. When the check came, he paid triple the amount and left a note on the receipt. Thank you for forgiving me when I didn't deserve it. Outside, as the boys were about to leave, Tank followed them out. The sunlight hit the chrome of the motorcycles parked neatly in a row. Ethan turned around nervously, expecting another lecture. Instead, Tank said, Kid, you did the right thing. Remember that it's not where you come from that defines you. It's what you do when you realize you were wrong. Ethan nodded, his eyes glassy. Later that evening, Ethan couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the moment Maggie looked at him with forgiveness instead of anger. He realized how cruel he'd been, not just to her, but to so many others he'd mocked or ignored. The video he had filmed was still on his phone. He deleted it, then decided to post something else instead. A video of himself explaining what he had done, admitting his mistake, and apologizing to the world. It went viral overnight. The comments flooded in, some harsh, some supportive. But what mattered most was the one from an account named Millie's Diner Staff. We all make mistakes, son. What matters is that you learned. Ethan started visiting the diner every week after that. Not for food, but to help. He cleaned tables, washed dishes, and sometimes just sat and talked with Maggie. The first few times, people whispered, recognizing him as the spoiled kid who spat on the waitress, but over time, they started to see the change in him. He wasn't doing it for attention anymore. He was doing it because it felt right. Months passed and Maggie grew fond of him, like a grandson she never had. The bikers, too, came by often, always smiling when they saw Ethan behind the counter, wearing an apron, pouring coffee with steady hands, the same hands that once held a phone. For cruelty now served with humility. But life had one more twist to give. One afternoon, Maggie collapsed while working. Ethan caught her before she hit the floor. The hospital said her heart was weak, worn down by years of exhaustion. She smiled from her bed, holding Ethan's hand. You've got a good heart now, she whispered. Don't waste it. A week later, she passed away peacefully. The diner closed for a day, its windows draped in black ribbons. The entire town came to her funeral. Customers, co-workers, and even the bikers who rode in a slow, solemn procession behind her casket. Ethan spoke through tears, telling everyone how she had changed him with just a few words of forgiveness. Afterward, he bought the diner with the help of his parents, who finally saw the man he'd become. He renamed it Maggie's Place, hanging her old apron, cleaned and framed, by the counter. And every morning, he poured coffee for the bikers who had once stood up for her. He even started a small scholarship in her name for students who wanted to work their way through school just like she had once done. Ethan learned that day that respect wasn't about wealth or popularity. It was about how you treated those who couldn't fight back. That one act of cruelty had nearly defined him forever, but one act of kindness had saved him. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories that remind us how compassion can change everything. And before you go, comment below, I believe in second chances, because sometimes that's all it takes to turn a cruel moment into a lifetime of change. Ethan never forgot Maggie, the waitress who taught him what true strength looked like, not in the power to hurt, but in the courage to forgive. And in the corner of the diner, beneath her photo, a simple plaque reads,